Alright, let's see. Did I get the time right? I might not have. But I think I nailed the time. Okay, Turf War. Anarchy. And Challenge. There we go. Oh, and that's the new stage as well. Oh, neat. Neato. I need to play that at some point. So, since the last time we splooned, the new update has come out. The 4, I think it's 4.0 actually. The 4.0 update, which is the Sizzle season. And with the Sizzle, ooh, what's this? Oh. Okay. So that's just challenge, power, anarchy, whatever. Okay. So yeah, challenge mode. Here we go. So the new season has come out. And so we got tons of new things, new weapons, new gear, new items, and challenge mode, which this first challenge to, you know, start off the new season is just Turf War in the new stages. That's it. That's all it is. Turf War in the new stages. You get challenge power. I played a little last night. I think I won 5 and I lost 5. I played like 10 matches. So that's kind of what, you know, I expect to happen today. We'll win 5 and we'll lose 5. It was the exact same rule set. So, yeah, we'll see. But, you know, I hate how limited these challenge things are. Like, you could at least have done them for 24 hours. Do I want to change my shoes to anything? Because right now I'm running... Because only the main gear counts, not the sub-gear. So I'm running 2 quick respawns. And... what other gear do I even have? I don't even remember what other shit we've used along the way. Yeah, I have no idea what other gear we've even used. I guess I can just throw a stealth jump. I guess I can just go back to stealth jump. That's not bad. If you may have noticed, so last week or 2 weeks ago, I was talking about my victory of finally getting into S rank. After all my trials and tribulations, months of work, finally I was able to get into S rank. New seasons came out, and it came out like 2 days ago, 2-3 days ago. I was back in fucking A rank. They dropped me down to A rank again. Instead of putting me at like low S. Nope, I'm back in A. Fuck. Fuck everything. God damn it. I've been trying to work my way back up, and it's been a nightmare. I've not been able to get back into S. I've only tried like twice. So it hasn't been like a big attempt. And my first attempt went fine. But it looked as if like, oh, if I won all 5 matches, I would get back into a chance to get to S rank. So I won all 5 matches. I don't even think I got a single loss. Or I might have gotten 1 loss now that I think about it. But I won 5 matches. And guess what? It got me, I want to say 30 points under being able to get into S. And then I tried again like the next day. And nope, I just couldn't do it. And now I'm like 60 points away. So it has not been going well. But I'm trying. Because god dang it. But hey, challenge mode is a thing. And I actually get to play in it this time. Because I want to say in the last challenge mode, I want to say you had to do it with like a team. It was called League Battle. And I want to say you had to participate with at least one other person to do League Battle. Like you couldn't do League Battle solo. This time it's challenge mode, and you can do it solo, which is great. So I get to actually play it this time. Of course, I'm going to get my ass kicked every time, but we'll try and see what we can do. So, tonight's show, very sparse news week. Guess what? E3 is, like, next week. Okay, it starts, what, the 10th, I think? I think that's the first day of Summer Games Fest. So, it starts soon. And so, as a result, there's, like, no news. I've got 2 stories tonight. However, I did see The Little Mermaid, and I did see Spider-Man, so we're going to talk about both of those. So I've got both of those things to talk about, but, you know, I'm aiming for, like, an hour. We'll see if that actually turns out that way, but that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah, and then I've got, like, one game to talk about, but we'll do that real quick. Well, in Splatoon. We got our ass kicked. We were trading back and forth, but in the end, they ended up in our base, so no, we lost. Yeah, no, we totally lost that. Yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles. I don't remember orange pants like that. And then it does, because, so every time we go into the new challenge, like if we say keep going, we start off with a brand new team. So we don't get to keep our team, because I had some great matches that if I had been able to keep my team, we would have just kept going and dominating. But nope. So that's something that sucks. Now, if you join with friends, of course, that doesn't change, but just killing with randos. Nah. So, our first story tonight. So, PlayStation's showcase was last week. We talked about it. And one of the things that a lot of people thought was missing from this showcase was The Last of Us. Because there's that Last of Us Factions game that is supposedly a Last of Us multiplayer game. And everyone was like, where is that? And so Naughty Dog put out a statement saying that, hey, guess what? Development on Last of Us Factions is continuing. You know, we're taking our sweet-ass time with it to make sure it's something good. And when we're ready to show it, we're ready to show it. And we just aren't ready to show it yet. Right? A very bland statement that's like, oh, just, you know, be patient. It happens when it happens. And it was like, okay, well, are they just trying to, you know, cover up for the fact that it wasn't at the PlayStation Showcase? As it turns out, no. Because Jason Schreier, at least I read Jason Schreier's thing on it. I'm pretty sure he's the one who put it out. Put out a thing that was, hey, guess what? The Last of Us Factions is in development hell. Basically, this is Naughty Dog's first multiplayer game. And from what people have seen of it so far, you can kind of tell. Like, it very much feels like Naughty Dog's first multiplayer game. So it's not great. I guess they brought in Bungie to look at the game, and Bungie was like, no, there's a lot of things you gotta fix here. So they're basically going back to the drawing table. And according to Jason Schreier, according to the report, there is a possibility that the game does get completely scrapped. That they're trying to salvage it right now. But if it just keeps going at the rate it's going, then they'll probably just have to cancel it. Because, yeah, this was their first multiplayer game. And Naughty Dog didn't entirely know what they were doing. I mean, there's a reason they remade The Last of Us last year. Even though that game definitely did not need a remake. And did not... Right, especially because you could already play the pre-existing game on PS5. It didn't need a PS5 remake. It's, as I said the same thing about Bowser's Inside Story. Right? I could play Bowser's Inside Story on 3DS. It didn't need a 3DS remake. And that killed Alpha Dream. I don't think this is going to kill Naughty Dog, obviously. But it definitely doesn't put them in a great position. I want to say part of the report was PlayStation talking about how, in like the next, I want to say like 5-10 years, they predict that 60% of PlayStation's revenue will come from multiplayer games. Be that Destiny or any other number of things. 60% of their revenue. Which, I mean, if you look at something like Activision Blizzard, it's... Oh my god, look how close that was. I want to say Activision Blizzard, it's like 80%. Nah, well, because that's including, like, Candy Crush. And Candy Crush makes a shitload of money. But everything with this Last of Us Factions, it's in development hell. They might scrap it. You know, they might continue on with it. We'll see how it goes. But so far, it's not looking great. And, you know, I've talked many a times about how I hate multiplayer games. I mean, you find the one you like, and then you just stick with that one forever. For some people, that's Destiny. For some people, that's Fortnite. It was Fall Guys for me for a long time. And then Fall Guys kind of shit the bed. So now it's Splatoon. Because Splatoon doesn't have any microtransactions. Even though they have a very obvious microtransaction system built into the game, they just never turned it on. Right? Like, they could easily put microtransactions on Salty Sea Snails. And they just never did. So here we are. Yep. But no, I don't know. You know, I've played The Last of Us. I thought it was fine. I don't think it's the second coming of Jesus like some people treat it as. And then I own Last of Us 2. I just never played it. No, I never played it. So, yeah. I do at some point want to. Just more out of curiosity than anything else. But no, Last of Us Factions, it's a thing that exists. A lot of people were wondering if maybe they were saving it for Summer Games Fest. But they could have at least talked about it. Because it was announced at Summer Games Fest. That's the other thing. Factions was announced at Summer Games Fest last year. So it was like, oh, maybe they're saving it for Summer Games Fest. But they could have at least mentioned it. And, like, said, like, hey, we're going to show more at Summer Games Fest. Because the other problem with the game is that part of it is that they're working on making a story experience, but still trying to fit it into a multiplayer game. Because, you know, Naughty Dog is a very story-focused company. And, you know, maybe they should have just stuck with that, because that's what they're good at. But no, they wanted to do a multiplayer game. They were forced to do a multiplayer game. However it turned out. But they're still trying to keep, like, that Naughty Dog fidelity. That, like, high quality, like, hey, this is a Naughty Dog game. Right? This is what you come for. And I guess it just wasn't working out. So, yeah. We'll see how it all turns out. I don't know. There are weirder games that have been in development hell that are still coming out. AKA our next story, Everybody Want to Switch. So if you remember, we talked about this on this show this time last year. Oh, I did not expect the bubbler to fail. If you remember, around this time last year, Emron Khan over at, I want to say he was working at Fanbyte at the time, released a report about a game called Everybody Want to Switch, and how it was in development hell, and how it also sucked. Now, Nintendo has released bad games in the past. Most infamously, there is 2015, in which Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Paper Mario Color Splash, and Chibi Robo Zipline all came out in the same year. So Nintendo's not perverse to releasing bad games. They do it all the time. That was just an excruciatingly bad one. But there was this game, Everybody Want to Switch is right the sequel to 1-2 Switch, which 1-2 Switch was a Nintendo Switch launch title. It was basically a glorified tech demo. It's not for a glorified tech demo, it can be like a fun 2 hours, but it's not much more than that. Kind of, PlayStation, the PS5 has a tech demo, Astrobot's Playroom, and that's actually a pretty fun tech demo, right? Like, that's actually a really decent game that, like, it's the most Nintendo-like game made by a non-Nintendo company. You know, kind of like a Hat in Time, or, anything Rare made back in the day. But it was a fine tech demo. The big problem with it was that it was $60. And I was like, there's no point. I never even bought it. I played it from somebody else who bought it. And it's never gone on sale. I've always said, if it went on sale for like $20, I would pick it up. Just to, even if it's just to have something on my shelf. But no. It's never gone on sale. I'm pretty sure it's never gone on sale because Nintendo just forgot about it. Because why would you try to remember it? But someone at Nintendo clearly thinks... Because it sold like... I want to say 1-2 Switch sold like 3 million units. Which is not terrible. By any means. It's... Oh god, and I also remember this was back... Right before Nintendo's copyright program on YouTube ended. And they had copyrighted the guy saying fire... So anyone who used that clip in a video got copyright struck. Yep, that was a thing Nintendo did. But, it was... As a tech demo, it was fine. But they were trying to sell it as, like, a full game. And someone at Nintendo had the idea, like, hey, we should make another one of these. People... It sold well, let's make another one. And they were really fucking set on making another one. Like, they were like, oh, we've got to do this. So that's exactly what they did. And so they started work on Everybody 1-2 Switch. So a lot of our information about this game comes from Emron Khan's report, where it was basically Nintendo decided to make a sequel, somebody really wanted it. And their inspirations were, the original 1-2 Switch, but also Jackbox Party Pack. They wanted to, make a game that uses cell phones, like the Jackbox. Now, Jackbox games are hits and misses. For every Trivia Murder Party, there's, what's the ear one? It's not called Eardrum. Whatever the ear game is, right? Joke boat. There's a joke boat for every Quiplash 3. And Jackbox games, the other thing about them is that they can be both family-friendly and extremely raunchy. There's that one clip from, I want to say it's the Yard podcast, where they were playing Normie Quiplash. And so everyone was like, oh, Heaven has... It was, what was it? Heaven has a lot of, what does Heaven have a lot of? And, one person said donuts. And he said, boobs or something like that. And it was just like, I'm in hell. Because, yeah, it was Normie Quiplash. I think he made his name Boob Liker. And everyone just freaked out. So, yeah, Jackboxes can be as safe or as raunchy as you want them. Nintendo can't do that. Nintendo has to play their games safe. Nintendo would never make Trivia Murder Party one of the best Jackbox games. So, yeah, from the report, early play testing of Everybody 1-2 Switch has said that people, especially families, found the game both tedious and boring, which is not a good sign. And, there were examples from the game where things like musical chairs, they had a spin the bottle game, but instead of kisses, you, what was it? I want to say you, like, gave each other compliments, which is the most white bread, Christian, boring thing in the world. But I believe it. And then, of course, one of the other big things was that the host of this whole game was a guy in a horse head mask. Which, the last time horse heads were funny was 2014. And I say 2014 because that's when the Tomska video Horse came out, which is a genuinely great video, and I still think it's funny to this day. You know, Meanwhile, I think Meanwhile 2 was also that year, or, you know, around that time period. But that was the last time horse heads were funny. So them using a horse head, it's like, what the fuck? But yeah, I guess this game was... Because I was listening to Emron Khan talk about it after it was revealed. And he was mentioning, like, oh yeah, it was the type of game... Because normally you have to go looking for, like, hey, what will you tell us about what's going on at Nintendo? For this one, it was, hey, let us tell you about what game we're making. And one of the big debates about this game was because the higher-ups at Nintendo wanted to release it at $60. They were like, it's a Nintendo game, it's gotta come out at $60. Other people were like, no, if the game is this bad, we should just release it as part of Nintendo Switch Online. And that way kind of guarantee that everybody plays it. But I don't think anyone's actually going to give Nintendo... Like, nobody is going to subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online to play Everybody Want to Switch. Because, like, I'll subscribe... Like, Game Pass, for example. I'll subscribe to Game Pass to play Hi-Fi Rush. I'll subscribe to Game Pass to play Starfield, or Redfall, or any other number of things. Nobody's going to subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online to play Everybody Want to Switch. That's not the type of game it is. So that was another debate. The Nintendo execs really didn't want to sell it at less than $60. But finally, just a few days ago, we got the reveal of Everybody Want to Switch. They are selling it for $30. Now, another part of the story was that physical copies of Everybody Want to Switch had already been made. Because again, this was over a year ago now. So physical copies already existed. So it's like, oh, what are they going to do? And of course, Emron Khan speculated that, oh, they probably just took out Everybody Want to Switch and just put copies of Tears of the Kingdom in those boxes. Because Tears of the Kingdom sold very well. And it sold very well physically as well. And you know, that makes sense. But it is still getting a physical release. So yeah, on, I think it was March 30th was when they announced it. Maybe even June 1st. They were like, hey, guess what? Everybody Want to Switch is... The tweet is literally, Everybody Want to Switch releases June 30th. Pre-orders available now. And that was it. No trailer, just a single image of some people with Joy-Cons, some people with phones, and a guy in a fucking horse head mask. Yeah, everything Emron Khan said about this game was probably completely correct. Yep, he nailed the horse head thing. Total vindication. Of course, will, like, that spin the bottle game still be there? We'll see. We'll fucking see. The musical chairs thing, we'll find out. Because in the past year, has Nintendo fixed this game? Have they found a way to make it fun? The fact that they're selling it for $30 probably means no. They're probably just trying to make back whatever money they can. Because there was a part of Nintendo that was considering not releasing this game. Mainly because they were worried that if they released such a bad game, it might hurt their brand image. And that's a fair thing to, you know, worry about. Because, yeah, the reports on this aren't great. But nope, the game is still coming out at the end of the month. We've got no trailer, no nothing, and that's what surprises me. Like, I know they're just trying to shove it out to let it to die, but I would at least think we would get a trailer or something. But nope, just a single image of a horse head. It's fucking doomed. It's even at a $30 price point. They're definitely not going to be able to make their money back. Not a chance in... they'll be lucky if they sell 500,000 copies. But no, I don't. Is this going to be the worst game Nintendo ever made? God, I don't know how you make something worse than Chibi Robo Ziplash. Something more boring than that. But there is a good possibility that, yeah, it is. But no, Emron Khan completely nailed it, and I gotta give him all the credit for it. Because, yeah, we talked about the story at the time. And since we've talked about the story, I bring it up every Nintendo Direct. Every Nintendo Direct since, like June of last year? Probably May, June last year. I've brought it up, said, hey, maybe this will finally be the time they reveal 1-2 Switch. Or everybody 1-2 Switch. And here it finally is, in a random tweet on, like a Thursday night. I want to say it was Thursday night, because I think I saw the tweet when I got out of Spider-Verse. Yeah, comes out the end of the month. Now, the one speculation this does make me wonder about, are we getting a Nintendo Direct soon? Because I would have thought they would have just slipped this into a Nintendo Direct. But if they really want to bury this thing dead, then there's no point in doing that. Right? Like, don't even put it in there. But maybe if we're not... Because if you remember in 2020, the year of no Nintendo Directs, instead of having Nintendo Directs, every few months they just put out a tweet. Because that's how Paper Mario Origami King got announced. That's how Pikmin 3 Deluxe got announced. Was just in tweets on like random mornings in July and June. So I wonder, does that mean we're going to get that again? Right? Are we going to get a new Pikmin 4 trailer? Because that game comes out in like 2 months. Or not even 2 months. It comes out July like 15th. Are we just going to get a random trailer in like a week or two? That's like, hey, here's a new trailer for Pikmin 4. Or are we going to actually get a Direct soon? Because I'm still predicting a Direct at the end of June. That is still my big prediction. I think that's very possible. Like June, I want to say I predicted June 22nd. And I still probably stand by that. Because I know Nintendo wants to space themselves out from all the other competitors. But I can still see them doing something. But yeah, if we randomly wake up one day and there's a Pikmin 4 trailer, that means there is no Nintendo Direct. But the fact that they didn't show a trailer for this, this game is sent out to die. And two, maybe they're saving it. But then why announce this? If you're just going to save it, then why announce this at all? And I think it's why announce it. The reason they did just announce it is because it comes out in like a month. And they're like, we waited too long. And they don't expect it to do well because it's not that fun. God. It's going to be interesting. I probably know somebody who will get it. If, again, just to have it as part of their collection. So I will probably end up playing this. At least a little bit. But, yeah, that's a thing. Because, yeah, they are selling physical editions. Right now, I've only seen the physical editions go up on Nintendo's website. But they might go up other places. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. So, what have I been playing? The one game I have been playing is Inside. Playdead's 2018? 2018, 2017. The studio that made Limbo, they did Inside. I played it at the time. I even reviewed it at the time. It's one of the first games I ever reviewed. Must have been 2017. Because I reviewed Breath of the Wild, Inside, Super Mario Odyssey, and like 2 other games that year. Don't remember what the other 2 were. I don't know, I actually have it written down somewhere. Or at least I did back in the day. Oh, come on. But yeah, I liked Inside. I'll be honest, replaying it, and I did get the true ending this time, which I did not do last time. I'll be honest, I still don't get it. The whole, like, I know there's that giant segment at the end with the blob. Was it 2016? Holy crap, that was 2016. Yeah, that was 20... Oh my gosh, it's even older than I thought. I played it on Switch. I picked it up for like a $5 on Switch. And I picked up Limbo as well. I just didn't play Limbo. But I liked it at the time. And, so I played it. I still don't get the ending. I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where it's like Firewatch, where it's like, oh, the ending's good, you just don't get it. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Inside. Where it's like, the ending's probably good, I just don't get it. And then the whole secret ending thing, so I collected all the orbs, you pull them out, which I only missed 2. That was kind of one of those things where I was like, I definitely felt like I found a lot more on the second playthrough. But no, I found all but 2. Have no idea where you get the passcode to enter the vault door. There's like an up, down, an up, left, and right thing, and you have to enter a code onto it. I have no idea where you find that code. I literally... I found, right, all the orbs but 2. And they were like 2 near the end. It was like orb number like 11, and I want to say it was like 9 or something like that. And I want to say there's only like 13 orbs. But so I did that, and then in the secret end, so in the regular ending for the game, for people who have never played it, you fuse with like this giant blob of like arms and legs and no faces, but it's just this like giant blob of stuff. And then you go on a rampage, you kill some people. Some people are help you escape, which I did not remember. And then you end up escaping back into the wilderness, and the game ends. And then in the secret ending, you disconnect all these orbs, find a giant orb, disconnect that, go to a secret room, pull a plug, and then your like character like slumps over, not dead, but he basically is mind controlled again. As if he's like being mind controlled, and that's where the game ends. Wow, I'm so kind of... I guess they did have a lot in our area. We had a lot of the center, though. My guess is that there was some sort of, like... Because Inside is, right, it's like in this universe where people are being, like, mind-controlled, and they've, like, rounded people up, and what are they doing with the people? I don't know, slave labor or something, but you're, like, the one free kid outside of, like, the people in the masks. And I'm pretty sure, based on the secret ending, that there was some sort of, like, resistance against this corporation, and they were using this machine in the basement to, like, break you free of the mind control. And by unplugging that, right, that's where you get mind controlled again, as if it never happened. But then there's this whole part about merging with the blob, but then the fact that there are people who help you when you're the blob makes me think that, yeah, there was some sort of, like, resistance group within this corporation, this, like, evil scientist collective. And that, right, at the end, because at the end, yeah, a bunch of them do help you. And, like, one unlocks a door for you, one, like, gives a box to you or something like that. There's a whole number of things that happen. I do still very much, even though I do not get the ending, and it's one of those things where I could probably just, kind of like Firewatch, where I just could watch a YouTube video and have someone explain it to me, because that's how I ended up figuring out what was going on in Firewatch, was I just watched a YouTube video, and it was like, okay, that makes sense. Kind of. I could probably just watch a YouTube video and have somebody explain it to me, and that'll probably make sense, but eh. And then I don't remember. I legitimately do not remember the ending of Limbo. I don't remember anything in Limbo past killing the spider. That's the last thing I remember. It's a good game, though. Oh, and then I saw both Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps are both on sale on Switch right now for $5 each. I want to say it was 5. Okay, Will of the Wisp might be $6, but it's something like that. And I'm like, oh, I should pick up Ori, because I thought Ori and the Blind Forest was okay. I wasn't blown away by it like Hollow Knight, but I didn't hate it. But it's always been one of those things where it's like, I want to replay it, and at some point I want to play the sequel, because I never have. So I might pick up both Ori games on Switch. Because I played the original on Xbox, and then even though they're both on Game Pass, nope, when I had Game Pass I didn't play them. There were so many games on Game Pass I just didn't play. That I always meant to. But yeah, do I play anything else? No, not really. I've been watching SGDQs going on right now. I was right before the stream started. I was watching the run of they were playing the original Mario Brothers one-handed. That was pretty good. 360 Chrism's running later today. And I'm super excited for that run. I'm a huge. I've been watching Chrism for years now because of AGDQ. And one of the few games I have actually ever tried speedrunning is Mario 64. I did terribly, obviously. Like, I definitely need to put more time into it. A few 100 hours. But no, I enjoyed 360 Chrism's runs. So it's cool to see them back again. I don't remember what the specific category is. I think it's a 70-star run. But that's cool. I don't know. If you remember, there was a period where I was like big into Chrism a few years ago. And it made me really want to play Mario 64 again. And like there was a short period where I was just obsessed with Mario 64. That and the Pokemon Bingo stuff, which that's something I've wanted to do in Scarlet and Violet. I would love to do Scarlet and Violet Bingo runs. I think that would be very interesting. But I never have, so yeah. What have I been doing? But yeah, I think today is the last day of SGDQ. I think they're ending off with Super Metroid like they normally do. So that's cool. The Bug Snacks run was this was like a week ago now. But the Bug Snacks run was great. And it was cool that they had the developers from Young Horses there to add some little bits of commentary to the run. Because I remember, because IGN did a series for a short period of time where they had game developers comment on speedruns of their games. And I was like, oh, that's very clever. That's very interesting. And I think one of them was either Bugsnax or Octodad. So seeing them do that, I was like, oh, cool. They're here at SGDQ. Other than that, I've been playing Splatoon, right? I got Quest to S rank, finally did it. Got immediately rejected, have been trying to get back. Some of the new stuff, challenge mode, I think it works fine. The times need to be better. But other than that, it's cool that I actually get to participate this time. Because I don't think I could participate in League Battle. I'm like 90% sure. And maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to participate in X Battle. Probably not, but it'd be cool. It'd be cool. But no, I have to get back to S rank. Well, I'll hopefully do it in like a week or two. Hopefully it won't take too long. Because I'm into the game right now. Ah, shit. I'm into Splatoon right now. We'll see how long it lasts, but I'm having fun with it at the moment. I also want to play Luigi's Mansion again. I know that's completely random, but I did watch they did a race for Luigi's Mansion. That was one of the runs on, I think, the first day. And since then, I've kind of been like, I kind of want to play Luigi's Mansion again. Of course, the new Minecraft update comes out on the 7th, so in 4 days. And I'm excited for that. I know it's not a huge update, and I know Minecraft has a problem right now. Admittedly, I think it's more of a PR problem than it is actually a gameplay problem. Like, I think the game is still fine and fun. It's just more of a PR thing. But yeah, I know people aren't too excited for the new update, and I definitely have problems with it. I hate the armor slate stuff. But, pottery looks fine. Cherry blossoms are cool. So, we'll get to it when we get to it. Yeah. And, of course, we're still doing Tears of the Kingdom. God, I'm having so much fun with that. I know we've mostly just been bumbling around for the past, 3 streams. But there's no problem with that. I mean, probably the next time I would say the next time we stream, we'll probably continue on with the story. But currently, we are trapped in the underground. Again. For, the second time. Because we rode a dragon down into the underground, which sounds very cool. And it was kind of cool. We messed around with the duplication bug for a second, and God, it's 1,000% easier than I even imagined. It's so freaking easy. I mean, the one pre-patch. I'm sure they'll patch out the new one. I don't know how many patches the game's gonna get. Probably, because there's definitely gonna be a DLC. If we do get a Nintendo E3 showcase or whatever, a Summer Games Fest showcase, we're definitely gonna get DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. That's gonna be one of the things they announce. I still stand by time travel. I don't, admittedly, yeah, I have no idea where the story's going. I have no idea how the story's gonna end. I mean, for all I know, Zelda's gonna get trapped in the past or something like that. But we'll see. I still think that's an interesting concept. But that'd be a very big thing for some DLC. But Nintendo does some very good DLC. And the Tears of the Kingdom DLC, or the Breath of the Wild DLC, I mean, was actually pretty decent. I enjoyed it anyways. Wasn't the most complicated thing in the world, but it was fun. So yeah. And admittedly, I don't know if we're doing Tears of the Kingdom tomorrow. Normally I try to do it on Fridays and Sundays. But I don't know if I'll be able to get to it tomorrow, so maybe we'll do Monday. Maybe I'll go in right after work. We'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. So, I have seen 2 movies. The first one was The Little Mermaid. So let's talk about that one first. I had not seen The Little Mermaid, the original, in maybe 20 years. It had been a long time since I had seen the original Little Mermaid. Because, I'm a boy. And that's a Disney princess movie. Like the Lion King I'd seen more recently, but because that's a little bit different. But yeah, it had been a long time. But I rewatched it because it's all on Disney Plus nowadays. So the day before I saw it, I was just like, oh, I'll just put it on the original movie on Disney Plus. It's an hour and a half long. Oh, bing bada bing. Yeah, I still really like it. I still like it. Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, now, as I've grown up since the last time I saw it, I can more properly appreciate it. I can recognize that Ariel saying, but Daddy, I'm an adult. I'm 16. And it's no, you're not, sweetheart. I can recognize that. But no, I liked it. So the remake, I also liked, but it's not as good. Of course it's not, obviously. But the big thing that surprised me... So I knew The remake was like an hour longer. The original movie's like an hour and a half. The new movie was like 2.5 hours. So I was like, what the fuck are they adding to add another hour to this movie? And it turns out not much. Like, I legitimately have no idea where they get that extra hour from. Like, yeah, they definitely do add some new scenes. They add some new music numbers. Scuttle, who's played by Aquafina, gets a song that is so obviously written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, holy shit. Like, it is peak Lin-Manuel. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda squared. Super concentrated. Like, holy shit. Like, it's bad. The Prince gets a song. One of the things that I was excited for, because the problem with one of the many problems with the Beauty and the Beast remake was that Emma Watson could not sing. None of the actors in that movie. Well, okay, Josh Gad can, but most of the actors in that movie cannot sing. And one of the things I was excited for with Hailey Bailey was that I know she can sing. And yeah, she does a fantastic job as Ariel. She nails all of the songs. However, the guy who they have playing the Prince cannot sing. And they give him a generic I want more song. And it's, oh god, it's awful. And then there's like one other new song they added. I don't remember what it is. But you know, they have all the classics, Part of Your World, Under the Sea, Kiss the Girl, all the good ones, all the classics. And yeah, they're mostly fine. One of my big concerns was after Black Panther 2, because that had underwater segments, and they were so fucking dark. Like, because one of the problems, in an animated movie, it's all animated. So, you know, you can make underwater, like, shades of blue and shades of green. And you can have as much artificial lighting as you want. But in live action, it's very fucking dark underwater. Being underwater is super fucking dark. And like, in Black Panther, you couldn't see shit. Like, they're in the City of Gold. And you can't see shit underwater. It does not look great, in my opinion. And for this one, I was really worried, like, oh god, are we going to have that same problem here? And no, I mean, yeah, there are some dark moments, of course. But no, actually, I think they actually did a pretty decent job at showing the underwater segments. I think it all actually works out pretty well. So that surprised me. Yeah, some other new stuff that's added. The Prince, I don't think you ever even hear about the Prince's parents in the original movie. And in this one, you meet his mother. As it turns out, he's adopted. Which, you know, there's part of me that... Because the island... So, as part of the updating, the island they're on is no longer based on Europe. Like, I think the original book takes place in what? It's Dutch or something like that. So they're on one of the Dutch islands. No, in this updated version, they're now in, like, the Caribbean. They never say it's the Caribbean, but they're clearly taking visual influence from the Caribbean. But he's still Prince Eric, and I can't think of any kingdoms in the Caribbean. I'm sure they existed, but like part of me was like, could they have updated him to not be a prince anymore? But then that brings in colonialism, but it's already is colonial. Like colonialism is kind of rooted in stories like this, especially when you make that sort of change to the source material. So like, what you gonna do? But yeah, that was another change. And like there are some right, like one of the I think they changed the king's daughters. I think they all have new names to more closely link them up with the seven seas of the world, and I think that's a good change. One of the changes I do really like. So, you know, Ariel has her room underwater where she collects stuff from the surface world. Well, one of the changes in the movie, this new one, is that the prince has a room in his castle where he collects treasures and trinkets from around the world. So, like, hey, this is a trinket from the time I went to the East Indies. This is something I got in Papua New Guinea. This is something I got from the Philippines and Australia. Right? From his travels around the world. And, like, that's very interesting. It draws a parallel of, right, she wants to explore the surface, and he's been exploring the surface. But, you know, they talk about how there are uncharted lands to go to and everything. So, it's interesting. It's a good change, I think, because it gives them more stuff in common. And that's one of the things, like, the Cinderella remake did that pretty well. Where we spent some more time with the prince. Not to, you know, well, one, to develop the prince's character more, but to show how the prince and Cinderella have more in common. And showing how the prince and Ariel have more in common in this movie by giving him his room of collectibles, I think is a good change. Let's see, what other change? A change I did not like was, so as part of the curse Ursula places on Ariel, right, she in the original, she has to kiss the guy in 3 days, or else she will turn back into a mermaid and belong to Ursula. In this one, it's the exact same setup, but she also has amnesia, so she doesn't remember that she has to kiss the guy. And I feel like that was adding the amnesia element was completely unnecessary. Like, no, that doesn't work at all. What else? Melissa McCarthy as Ursula is fine. I kind of wish they had actually just gotten a straight up drag queen, because Ursula is very heavily drag queen inspired. So I kind of wish they had just gotten a real one. Like, I went and saw a production of Hairspray this was probably, I don't know, like 6 months, a year ago. And the drag queen who played the mom in that one, I kind of wish they had gotten that person to play Ursula, because they would have fucking killed it. They were the best performer in that movie, just straight up fucking nailed it. So I wish they had actually gotten someone like that, but no, instead they got Melissa McCarthy, who's not terrible casting. I don't know, there's just something weird about it. I guess they just don't go far enough. What else? There's just a bunch of small changes. One of them, spoiler alert, I guess, even though, again, the story's mostly intact. Because sometimes the movie is straight up line for line from the original Little Mermaid. Like, sometimes it's straight up line for line. They, like, completely do it again. In the original, right, Ursula turns into the giant, and Ariel's sitting on, like, a rock at the bottom of a whirlpool. And it's the prince who takes one of the boats and kills Ursula. And this one, they change it so it's Ariel who kills Ursula. Not a terrible change, but I wish they had set up to it more. Like, I wish there had been a scene earlier of the prince teaching Ariel about, like, captaining a ship. Right? Like, I wish that had been a scene, and then that would have better set up, like, hey, guess what? Now she saves the prince. Because I actually don't mind the prince saving Ariel in the original. Because, I mean, Ariel literally has the attention of this giant fuck-off squid pointing a giant magic weapon at her. And for the most part in the movie, she is proactive. She's the one doing stuff. She's the one taking initiative. And the prince is more reactive in the movie. And the one time he actually does something is, when he saves Ariel at the end. So, by taking that away from him, it kind of makes him less active in this new one. I know that sounds weird, and I'm probably not phrasing it exactly right. But I know we claim, like, oh, Disney princesses, they rob women of their agency. But no, Ariel's got a ton of agency. She's the one who's standing up for herself. She's the one who's choosing to go out into this new, strange world, when everybody else, including her father, tells her no. And Sebastian, I guess. No, I felt like Ariel had fine. It's kind of like Cinderella, where it's like, I feel like she has a fine amount of agency, right? Because Cinderella's a hard-working girl who finally gets it all paid off in the end. And I think Cinderella's a great story, and I felt like the adaptation was fine. I don't know. Again, it doesn't make the story worse or anything. But no, I thought the Little Mermaid adaptation was fine. I definitely don't recommend it over the original. Especially, so there was a kid sitting, not next to me, but like 2 seats over. And by like an hour and a half in, it was clear that that kid was like tired of sitting down. And they were like getting up and kind of moving around a little bit. The theater wasn't that packed, so it wasn't that big of an issue. And it's not like they were talking or anything. They were just like standing up in their seats. And the kid was like 2 at most. So it's like, it's clear this kid got bored, right? After sitting down for an hour and a half, this kid was kind of like, yeah, I need to get up, play, and move and whatnot. And by that point in the original, the movie would have been over. So that is definitely something I do take against this new one. That the length. But other than that, I felt like it was fine. I do want... They should have maybe considered changing the ending. Because I think it would have been interesting if, as part of the change, instead of Ariel, forever living on the surface world, they had made it so Eric becomes a mermaid. That would have been an interesting change. That I felt like they could have backed up. Because, right, he's explored the surface, so now he gets to explore underwater. Because there's a weird moment in this movie. So in the original, after they defeat Ursula, the father then is like, sees Ariel longing for the guy and gives her legs. In this one, there's like a weird distance with it, where like Ariel kills Ursula to save her father, and then it cuts to like the next day or something, and it's like there was no reason to do that. And her father's like, and Eric's like, oh, I'm never gonna see her again, and Ariel's down on the rocks being like, oh, I miss him so much. And it's like, no, you could have just done it right away, but whatever. It was fine. It was fine. I still recommend the original, though. I would say there are worse things to see in theaters right now, but there are much better things. That being Across the Spider-Verse. So I did see Across the Spider-Verse. I'm going to give spoiler-free first, and then we'll get into spoilers. So, spoiler-free, I like this movie. I like this movie a lot. It is very good. Is it better than the original? Maybe. It might be. Because this is the first part of a two-parter. And kind of like Fast and the Furious a few weeks ago, it's very blatant that, like, yeah, this is a two-parter. Unlike something like Endgame, where in Endgame you kind of feel like, okay, this kind of... right, Infinity War kind of feels like the end of a story, and then Endgame is, like, picks up 5 years later. This one is like, no, very clearly we're ending at the halfway point. This is the end of a two-parter, and we'll get to see the other part next year. And so, because of that, I kind of feel like it takes something away from it, but that's literally my only complaint. I think other than that, this movie is amazing. It's really good, really well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I do think it might be better than the original, which is kind of crazy because the original is already so well done. There are some things that I do have to get. Part of the reason, right, why I'm so worried about the two-parter thing is we have to get into the spoiler section of. But that's kind of my one big concern with this movie. Other than that, I think everything works really well. All the Spider-Verse stuff, right, the multiverse, they explain it very simply. It's explained very well. It's easy to follow. Seeing all the other the new Spider people are cool. Miguel O'Hare as 2099. Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman. It's in Spider-Man India. Hobie, who is the punk rock Spider-Man. What other big ones? And of course, the return of Gwen Stacy and Peter B. Parker. It all just works together really well. And of course, there's so many other Spider people. So many others, both big and small. It's really well done. And yeah, it all works. Like, even in elements that you don't think, like... Because Marvel's having an issue right now with the multiverse. Where it's kind of like, are they doing too much? And yet, when it comes to multiverse, Spider-Verse and Everything Everywhere's All at Once are coming in and just kicking their ass at the multiverse. Because they're doing it better than Marvel is. Oh God, yeah. I don't know what this there's so much to talk about in the spoiler section. Oh my gosh. It is better than the it might be better than the original plot. It depends on how that second part ends. Or depending on what happens in the second part. Because, right, the second part's just going to drop in exactly where we left off. And depending on how that goes, yeah, no, I think this definitely has the potential to be better than the original. And I think the second part has the better potential to be in the original. The problem is that, yeah, it's kind of missing this big, like, it has an ending. It just missing, like, a big emotional moment. The art style is still amazing. All the different universes having their own art style looks great. The one that kept it was Hobie, the punk rock Spider-Man, because yeah, he's so different than everybody else, and it's just one of those things where like you look back at him and it's like, oh yeah, now he's basically like a flat 2D image. Now he's like a pencil sketch. Now he's black and white. And they kind of mess around with stuff like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, that looks so great. But yeah, all the different universes having their own colors. They do some great stuff with Spider-Gwen's colors as well that I was like, oh, that works so well. The villain, the Spot, works really well. Yeah, no, they actually set up the Spot very well. And his whole execution... we spend some more time with Miles' parents, and that works. You know, you've got those big heartstring moments. You get them both from... Because the big heartfelt moment in the first movie was around the dad. And in this one, we get a big heartfelt moment around the mom. We get several of them, actually. And those work great. Because, you know, Miles is a teenager, but he's got that internal Spider-Man struggle of what matters more to him. Being Spider-Man or being Miles Morales. And like Peter Parker, Spider-Man will always... When he's given the choice between the two, Spider-Man will always win. Because it always does. And so that's creating issues in his personal life, in his love life, and every aspect. I just have to get into spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Go see it. Oh my god. Easiest recommendation. Potentially the best Spider-Man movie. I don't know. I feel like I'm being more divisive than a lot of other people. I feel like a lot of other people are just like straight up saying like, no, this is the best Spider-Man movie. But this is your spoiler warning. So there are so many. So the first thing I'll say, and this, they do not give this away in the trailers, which is why I'm saving it for the spoiler section. This is not a Miles Morales movie. This is a Gwen Stacy movie. This is Spider-Gwen's movie, because the movie starts off with like a 20-minute cold open that is Spider-Gwen, right? We learn her backstory, which, you know, we got hints of, that, right, she killed her best friend, Peter Parker. We get to see that whole scene play out. Then we see her fight an alternate universe Venom from like the Leonardo da Vinci world, and then the Miguel O'Hare and Jessica Drew come in and help her out, and it's this whole thing. And then at the end of the scene, her father goes to arrest her because, you know, her father is the police captain. He goes to arrest her, and then she reveals her secret identity to him, and he still tries to arrest her. So with that, she flees into the Spider-Verse to get away from her father. And then we cut to like 2 months later, because it's been a year and 2 months since the last movie. So this is a Gwen Stacy movie. The big emotional moment at the end of the movie, you know, so in the first movie you had that big emotional moment. Uncle Aaron dies, and then it's Miles talking, or his dad talking to him through a door. And that's basically the crux of the movie. And my one problem is that this movie doesn't really have a moment as good as that one. Because it's a two-parter. So the big emotional moment is going to happen in the second part. But the closest thing we do get is, which again, this is a Gwen Stacy movie, is when after the whole thing goes down with Miles, 2099 Spider-Man forces her back into her universe, and it's there that she has to confront her father, and that's the big emotional moment, and it works well. But yeah, it's just not as good as the moment from the first movie. But I definitely do think they're setting something like that up for the next one. But this is Spider-Gwen's movie at the end of the day. The whole Spider-Verse, there are so many cameos. Because basically the whole reason so Miguel O'Hare started the whole Spider-Verse initiative to, you know, fix the multiverse, to find things like tears in the multiverse and fix them. Right, basically the events from the first movie, the Spot, the villain, is creating tears. We'll talk about him in a minute. And that's their whole thing. Their goal is to fix these tears in the universe. They mention the one from No Way Home, and right, fixing Doctor Strange and Spider-Man's mistakes from Earth 1999999. So they do talk about that. That's early on in the movie they mention that. And yeah, it's just this big collective. Because one of the things that the big crux is this idea of canon events. That there are certain things that every Spider-Man goes through. Right? It's Uncle Ben. Every Spider-Man loses an Uncle Ben. Or like a father figure. For Peter Parker, it's Uncle Ben. For Miles Morales, it's, in the movie, it was his Uncle Aaron. In the game, it's his father, which is interesting. Because the video game Spider-Man, the Insomniac Spider-Man, is here. And I really do hope that in the next Spider-Man 2 that comes out later this year, they do have a mission that somehow involves the Spider-Verse. I think that would be, or even if just 2099 Spider-Man shows up as like a little side quest mission and like recruits him. That would be neat. I want that to happen in the new game. But right, these canon events. And one of the canon events is the death of the Chief of Police. Which, again, in the Insomniac Spider-Man, that is Jefferson Davis. So Miles loses his father, and the Chief of Police dies. But the example they give in the movie comes from the Andrew Garfield movie. They literally do show basically a clip from the Andrew Garfield movie of Captain Stacy dying. Right, when he in his dying words, is telling Peter Parker not to date his daughter. Because then she will die. And right, they bring up all sorts of other, right, these canon moments that every Spider-Man has to deal with. The death of Uncle Ben. And yes, they do show images from the Tobey Maguire movie on that one. Yep, that is something they do. They do straight up reference it. Another canon event was the symbiote. The death of Gwen Stacy seems to kind of be a canon one. Because Gwen Stacy brings up that in most other universes she is dead. And we do see, part of it is we do see the Indian Spider-Man's equivalent of Gwen Stacy. And right, her father is supposed to die. But one of the, not inciting incidents, but one of the things is Miles, instead of letting him die, Miles saves him. And that kind of causes the Indian Spider-Man universe to start falling apart. But yeah, no, they all go through these moments. And then, of course, right, and Miles brings up the obvious, like, hey, my dad is the captain. Or he's going to be captain in 2 days. is he going to die? And they're like, yeah, he's going to die. And basically that's the big thing, is that Miles wants to change the canon so that his father doesn't die. And Miguel O'Hare is like, no, you can't do that. And they bring up like, oh, Gwen, your father's captain. Are you going to let him die? And I can't remember if she says yes or she doesn't answer. I know at one point, I want to say Peter B. Parker says that, oh, if you had a chance to save Uncle Ben, wouldn't you? And I want to say he says, like, he wouldn't or something like that. Because, yeah, the only reason Peter B. Parker's in this movie is because they bring him in to, like, explain to Miles, like, hey, you can't save your father's life. You have to let him die. And, yeah, he refuses. So that's why everyone is trying to stop Miles, not because he can hug his parents, but because he wants to keep hugging his parents. Right? He doesn't want his dad to die. And, of course, you get all the Spider-Man cameos in the world. Of course, I recognize so many of them, but there were, of course, so many I didn't recognize either. There were some I was looking out for. Spinstress, who is the Disney Princess Spider-Man, who already has a voice actor, surprisingly. I didn't see her. I also didn't notice Spiders-Man, who is like the Million Ant Spider-Man. I didn't notice that one. They did put Sun Spider in the movie, though, and she even has a voice line. That's fucking cool. I haven't really read I haven't read any of the Spider-Verse events. But I read the Spinstress Sun Spider comic, and that was pretty good. So it was cool to see at least that one there. But no, I definitely do want them to... And, the Disney Princess one might have been there. I just didn't notice it. But there were so many others. Andy Samberg plays Ben Reilly, which I did not know that going in. So that was funny. And yep, fucking Ben Reilly. But yeah, it's really fucking good. Seeing all those spider people, seeing it all work out. And yeah, it's kind of, because, is it like the Council of Reeds? Kind of. Because the whole thing about the Council of Reeds was like, oh, they're Reed Richards who can make the universe, whose goal is to fix the universes, make the best possible universes, defeat the threats, defeat Galactus. But it comes at the cost of their family. And that's why the 616 Reed Richards doesn't join the Council of Reeds. Because he would rather have his family than he would, work with the Council. And it's not like they try to kill him or anything over it, at least from what I've read from the Jonathan Hickman run of Fantastic Four. But yeah, it's kind of like, Miles would rather, doom the multiverse and save his father than, not do that. Which, that does make me... Okay, so they're called canon events. And part of me does wonder... Because in DC, there's a concept... It's not the bleed wall. I don't remember what it's fucking called. But basically, in the DC universe, it is kind of canon that comics are comics. Right? There's people in the DC universe... I mean, and this is on top of, Grant Morrison literally inserting themselves into the comics. But no, comics are comics, right? There's this material that is, the stuff comics are made out of. I don't remember what the fuck it's called. Does DC, or does Marvel have something like that? I know there are fourth wall breaking characters in DC, or in Marvel, like Deadpool and Gwenpool, She-Hulk, stuff like that. But yeah, is there, people who write, the one who knows all in DC who, writes the comic books? Is that a thing in Marvel as well? I don't know. I can think of more meta moments from DC, right? Like Zero Hour. And I can't think of something like that from Marvel. And I'm not talking, right, and when I say meta moments, I'm not talking fourth wall. I'm talking, comic book characters being comic book characters in a comic book universe. I don't know, they might, because it's who chooses these canon events? And there's also this whole, because they kind of set up that Gwen Stacy's dad quits the police force, he's no longer captain, so that means he won't die. And I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do the same solution here. Because near the end of the movie, Miles Morales, right, he fights all the spider people. We learn the reason Miguel O'Hare hates him is because he wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. Miles, that if he hadn't been bitten by the spider from the alternate universe, then his Peter Parker, you know, Blondie, played by Chris Pine in the first movie, would have lived. And because of Miles got bit by a spider from an alternate universe, there is no Spider-Man in that universe. So it left a universe without a Spider-Man. And that's part of the reason he really fucking hates Miles. Not anything Miles actively did, mind you. Which, you know, brings up the whole question, like, are they the bad guys? And Gwen says yes, Miguel says no. And other people say that, yeah, they kind of are turning into the bad guys. But, so Miles, there's a machine that sends people back to their universes. And we see, like, all these criminals from, like, the wrong universes who have been locked up. One of them is Donald Glover as the Punisher. Or as the Prowler, I mean. Which, that's another cool cameo. Because he was set up as the Prowler in Homecoming. And they just never did anything with it. I mean, supposedly we are now getting a live-action Miles Morales movie. Maybe in the MCU. But, yeah, no, they just never did anything with it. And, I mean, they still can, but seeing Donald Glover as the Punisher here was great. It's kind of like when we saw Billy D. Williams play Two-Face in the Lego Batman movie, where it's like, oh, that's a neat reference. Or when Nicolas Cage played Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, where it's like, oh, cool. Even though I've heard some things. Regardless. So Miles uses this machine to send him back to his universe. Because it, like, scans people to find out their original universe. And when he scans himself, it pops up Earth 42. And I was like, immediately I pegged something was wrong. Because I was like, wait, isn't the Into the Spider-Verse universe Earth 1610? And yep, he gets sent to the wrong universe. And that's where the movie ends. With him being trapped in the wrong universe, learning that that universe is the one without a Spider-Man, right? It's a lawless wasteland. And that, the Miles Morales of that universe is the Prowler. What a fucking ending, man. It's a good ending. It's just, it's missing that moment. Because the Spot's whole motivation is that in the first movie, Miles Morales hit him with a bagel, and now he has sworn revenge against Miles Morales and will become his nemesis. Yep, that's his motivation. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated than that, because, you know, he was the one who brought over the spider from Earth 42. He's the one who, when the collider exploded, he ended up turning into the Spot. Oh, we get a cameo from the Venom universe. The Spot goes to the Venom universe and talks to the little old Chinese lady who runs the bodega that, you know, Eddie goes to and Venom possesses in the second movie. You know, to get back at Eddie, because, again, they are in a gay relationship and it's totally written that way. Yeah, you don't see Venom, but she's definitely, yeah. All of the main Spider-Man movies get mentioned. Sure, did they bring back Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, or Tobey Maguire? No. Do they need to? Probably not. I honestly think what they did here was fine. But no, so the Spot's motivation is right. He wants to be Peter Parker's nemesis. He wants to make him suffer, you know, like he suffered. Part of it, honestly, if you remember The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Shocker's whole motivation, or not Shocker, Electro's whole motivation was that, right, Spider-Man upstaged him and forgot about his birthday, so now he wants to kill Spider-Man. The Spot's motivation is kind of the same. You know, Peter Parker, or Miles Morales, hit him with a bagel, overshadowed him, turned him into the Spot, kind of. So now he's going to get revenge by, you know, being his nemesis, his biggest villain, and killing his dad. Because, you know, every Spider-Man has a dead captain, and Captain Jefferson Davis Morales is going to be that captain that Spider-Man has to watch die. Because that's a canon event. And the Spot's, he's funny, but he's also serious, and when he gets, like, an upgrade halfway through, like, probably halfway through the movie, he gets, like, upgraded into, like, Dark Matter Spot, and it looks so cool. But that's kind of the last time you see him in the movie. Right? He kind of, for the second half of the movie, he disappears until he gets a little teaser at the very end. But there's tons of other things, tons of little things I didn't mention. And yeah, it all works very well. It's a fantastic movie. Any other random guff? I'm super excited to see where it goes for the next one. I mean, I have some guesses, obviously. I hope he's able to save his dad. Right? That these canon events aren't as canon as they seem to be. That he can change things. And that even though it's going to doom the multiverse, right, they still find a way around it. Like I was saying with the whole DC thing and, right, comic creators being canon in comics themselves, this would be, you know, the perfect time to have Miles Morales' creator, like literally just have the guy who created Miles Morales. Because I'm assuming he's still alive. If Stan Lee was still alive, you'd have this. And just literally have him come in and, like, spell out, like, hey, this is how it works. I know that's very meta, but I could see something like that being set up here. Because, again, DC Comics has done that with Grant Morrison. At least once. I kind of want to read the Spider-Verse events now. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know, I should do that. I don't know. I don't know if... I know that the comics have the whole spider totem thing, which is very good that they just didn't fucking do. I could also see them putting Madam Web in, because I know Sony's making a Madam Web movie, so I could see them doing something with that. I don't know. There's a lot of unnecessary Sony movies. Like, we don't need El Muerte, but they're doing it, so we'll see. You know who else? You know what other Spider-Man I was looking for that I didn't see? Spooderman. I want to say Spooderman was on one of the posters, but if he's in here, I didn't. I looked for him and I didn't see anything. But there's so much that chase scene with with where Miles Morales is running from all the Spider-Man. So much happens. There's a Spider Burger at one. There's like a Spider-Man 2099 burger. On top of the official Burger King burger, which I learned actually, this was something I learned about Burger King, was that a lot of those like artificial dyes that, you know, are banned in European countries, like Yellow 5, Red 40, that, you know, are fine, that people use in America. They're not good, but like people use them in America, but they're banned in most European nations. Yeah, Burger King doesn't use any of those. Burger King, I guess a few years ago, took a stand and was like, no, we're not going to use artificial dye. For the Red Whopper, they actually use, like radishes. And I find that very interesting. Like, kind of props to Burger King, you know? Like, they're actually taking, like, they took a stand there, and yeah, they stand by it. Too bad their food is garbage, because I kind of respect that. It was a fine burger. Very nice. But yeah, no, Across the Spider-Verse is amazing. I highly recommend it. So, what is the plan for the next few days? We might do Tears of the Kingdom tomorrow. We might not. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna stop. The rotation changes in like 10 seconds. Oh, not even 10 seconds. So we might do it tomorrow. Maybe, if not, we'll do it Monday. I don't know. I kind of want to stream more. You know, I've got a lighter load at work recently, so and see, there it is. It's gone. Challenge mode was just there for 2 hours. I think Umami Ruins is my least favorite map in the game. That's something I have realized. Ugh, Clan Blitz. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the hope. I kind of want to stream more. So if we don't stream Zelda tomorrow, probably Monday. And then from there, I do want to do some... you know, we've got tons of other things to do after that. Right now, we should just focus on Tears of the Kingdom. Right, we've got Stanley Parable, we've got Pikmin, which, I mean, to be fair, Pikmin 1's only going to take a day. I can probably also do Pikmin 3 in a day. I know that game inside and out. Enough. Not inside and out, but I know it enough. Yeah, we could probably do that in a stream or two. God, I love that game. Yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to do. You know, we'll have fun when we get there. But so far, I'm enjoying the shit out of Tears of the Kingdom. Of course. Do I expect Splatoon DLC in the next month? Nah. I still think the Side Order DLC is going to come out not in September. Around the same time as the original game. But, you know, all the Summer Games Fest stuff starts next week. I want to say the first show is like the 8th or the 9th. So we'll be there for that. Oh, we might also do an impromptu Minecraft stream on the 7th. We'll see. But that's something I do kind of have planned. Because we do have new achievements and whatnot. God, I need to think of a new base. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, you know, just more Tears of the Kingdom and more Splatoon. That's kind of the plan at the moment. If we do, if Minecraft happens on the 7th, cool. If not, we'll get to it sometime in the next week. But yeah, with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time. Peace.